Shalom call halal Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Bahashim Akwadash, double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of GMS, even the elders that came before them that taught us the truth. Shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing the word of truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. To the Aquath that are listening, learning, and being a pillar of rest, the Salakia, the 144,000, the one-third, the hopeful elect of Israel, on the brother Yashuan. And the Civil War is being fomented, if you will. So, Matthew 12:25 in the NLT, Yahushua knew their thoughts and replied, any kingdom divided by civil war is doomed. A town or family splintered by feuding will fall apart. The Hatfields and the McCoys. Feud, right? Anyway, those were brothers, by the way, the Hatfields and the McCoys. Yes, Civil War is in the air, and they're pushing it. They're using these storms to establish a foothold, take away a few people's houses, start a war with who? Let's get this. Let's go to Isaiah real quick. 19:2. Isaiah 19:2 in the KJV reads, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. Now we got to stop immediately and go to Revelation 8 and 11. 11 and 8. Their dead bodies will lie in the street of the great city. That's the Berea. Let's get the KJV. Their dead bodies, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, Babylon the great city. See that? Which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. So Babylon the Great is spiritually called Egypt. Sodom as well, but we're focusing on Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. Now let's go back to Salakia. Salakia. Isaiah. Now we know that these Egyptians are Babylonians, or Americans, if you will. And I will set the Americans against the Americans, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. That is your Civil War. Now, I'm going to go to Survival Living here, and he's going to set up a scenario about how they have fomented the beginning of this Civil War by the so-called militias. If you go to the Second Amendment, right? Let's read the Second Amendment real quick. Salakia. Second Amendment has a word in it. Okay, here it is. Militia. See that word? A well-regulated militia. So the whole Second Amendment is about militia. Being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, right? We read it again. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Okay, that word militia. Okay. And then 1A, oh, that's 2A. 1A is free speech. This is 2A. So, back to Survival Living 17 hours ago. Emergency alert. They will come. Who is they? That is the Babylonians, the Gurkhas, right? Civil War coming up. So he's going to speak on how the militia or somebody is going after FEMA, okay, which is the beginning of that, and then it was to the 82nd Airborne, or the actual U.S. Army. All right, so let's deal with FEMA first. Take it away.
All right, guys, welcome back to Survival Living here. So today's video is watch what you say, or they'll put you away. Yes. So here on my YouTube channel, guys, I get a lot of slack, black, whatever you want to call it, a lot of negative vibes from people. Everything from I'm not a patriot to I will turncoat quick when bad things happen. So none of that is true. Fact is, I've got some footage here that we need to discuss because this just happened in North Carolina with the whole hurricane aid after Helene. Threats were made, quote unquote, threats were made against FEMA workers by armed militia. So they stopped their procedures of going door to door and staged up in different locations because they were unsafe. They didn't make an arrest, by the way, and I have that video footage for you guys. But before we get into it, I do want to discuss something right fast. I see the comments here on my channel, and so does Daddy Government, so does the platform. And to think that you are not on a list and that this cannot happen to you, think again. When you leave comments where they come to my door to take my supplies, I'm filling them up with buckshot. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. That's what happened in this scenario. Except instead of online, the guy actually mouthed off the stuff that they come to his door. And the reason I know this is because actually I have people in North Carolina that contacted me on this story. It's not being spun. It wasn't a militia group running around. It was one man that said, if FEMA comes to my house to take my shit, I'm shooting them.
Okay, so it wasn't a militia. It was one man who was mouthing off, and now they're pushing what? Militia. So to understand this, right, you got to look at the bigger picture. This is what they want, okay? They want this kind of talk out there so that they can move, all right? They can act on it. They're actually creating that scenario. The militia, the against the government, that whole thing. They're putting that together.
That's what was said. And he went to jail. They arrested him for that. Now he is out on bond. But let's go ahead and start clipping in. This started the other day, and first bit is the militia group.
FEMA crews in North Carolina were forced to relocate due to a reported armed threat against government workers, a story first reported by the Washington Post. Nicole Skanga has more.
As the nearly 65,000 residents of hard-hit Rutherford County, North Carolina, struggle to clear endless mud and debris left behind by Hurricane Helene, help has hit a roadblock. Out of an abundance of caution, FEMA says instead of going door to door, disaster assistance teams there will be stationed at fixed locations, while the agency looks into alleged threats against their personnel. FEMA says search and rescue is still underway and disaster recovery centers remain open. The move comes as the Washington Post reported an email by the U.S. Forestry Service to federal responders in Rutherford County, alerting them of an apparent stand down after National Guard troops reportedly encountered armed militia saying they were, quote, hunting FEMA.
Okay, so National Guard, you got FEMA, right? And militia. They're putting this thing together, right? They're stringing it together. The guy that they said that the third attempt on Donald Trump, they added him to, he's part of this Sons of Glory, some militia type thing, right? And he says he's never shot a gun before in his life. But as you can see, they're pushing this scenario, right? The dude was a Trump supporter, but he's part of a militia that was going to kill him. Come on, get it right.
So again, the very first reports was that militia groups had made threats to, National Guard soldiers, military in the area. They said that we're hunting FEMA. Well, that story is not true, actually. That was spun by the Washington Post.
Okay, so they're using this. They're never letting a good crisis go to waste. All right, so there's that. Now let's watch your boy. What's this guy's name? Travis. Travis, look at this. And this is crazy. This is exactly
This article
this is exactly what they want, right? They want this thing to be stirred up and put in this is a great distraction here, this whole militia thing. So here's Travis. We're gonna listen to what he has to say. Prepared Homestead, 41 minutes ago. Look at this heading, this title. U.S. Army running from militias? That is starting. This Travis, he put that up. Of course, he's trying to get a little clickbait, but keep doing this, right? This is exactly what they want. Okay. Well, if you go back to that movie called Civil War, what'd you have? The Boogaloo Boys in their little Hawaiian shirts and khaki pants. That's a militia. The Boogaloo Boys. The Proud Boys, that's a militia. Okay? Now they're igniting government against militia. To do what? To start that civil war. It's your boy Travis.
Hi, folks. Welcome to the.
Now, a survival living prepper guy. This is a prepper, prepared homestead. These preppers, right? They're going to start with them, right? They're going to start with the good old boys and start a little fight, okay? Now, survival living was talking about FEMA. This guy is talking about the 82nd, the straight U.S. Army, not the National Guard. He's talking about the 82nd Airborne, all right?
Homestead, this is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. So did you see that report coming out of, I think it was somewhere in North Carolina. I can't remember the exact location, but that's irrelevant. Where the United States military, 101st and 82nd Airborne, and FEMA has retreated out of areas. They regrouped, I think, in other areas, but they retreated out of a county or two in North Carolina because there were militias, armed militias going around trying to control the area, and they were worried. They were worried that, you know, something might happen, and so they retreated. It hasn't gotten a lot of airplay, so some of you may not know about it, but probably most do. I think we're watching another narrative being built. You know, the left that's obviously in control of the military.
Another narrative being built. Civilian war.
And FEMA. They want to spin this narrative that of course gun owners and especially militias are really bad. You know, there's this bill that they tried to get passed this past year that basically would make private militaries or quote unquote militias illegal in the United States, even though the Second Amendment, I get it, the Second Amendment exists, but this was an attempt to kind of create this little backdoor law that made them illegal. So we know that. We know that they want to confiscate your ARs, they want to, you know, all that kind of stuff. And so they're spinning this. And of course, with the upcoming election, there could be even more tensions arise and crazy things happen that we all know are probably in the works and planned for. But I find it interesting that this has happened because here's the thing. If there were you know, armed militias going around and terrorizing people or trying to control an area or, you know, trying to take on FEMA, you can't. The federal government, all their agencies and armed agents, and the United States military, the 82nd and 101st Airborne, which are both very formidable forces, can't take on militias. And I know that, you know, the argument they didn't want to. They didn't want to, you know, create this bloodbath and all this. So that's possible. It's also possible that because they're all so woke that it's just another sign of their weaknesses. But I tend to believe that it has more to do with they're just trying to make a nice, pretty scene so that they can further their narrative. Much like this new narrative that, you know, well, if Iran attempts to take out Donald Trump, then that's a declaration of war. You know, trying to set the stage so that they can come up with a pretty good excuse to go to war with Iran. I think that this is something similar, you know, creating a good excuse to say that all of these gun owners and militias and, you know, all the people running around in Carolina that are armed because they need to be to protect themselves, and all this hatred against FEMA and the federal government for claiming that they're not doing their job when they're doing just such an impeccable job during these disasters. Yeah, think about it, folks. It's not just, well, there's some crazies running around, and we just don't want to engage with them because of what they're doing. I think it's more of, let's create a narrative here. We know.
Let's create a narrative here, all right? Which is gonna grow. They need this.
Because of social media, that people are very upset with these, with the government, and we know that there are people that are armed that are going around and doing a job. They're distributing things and helping people out.
They're doing the rescue while there's a stand down because they're setting this whole thing up. Okay, because we're not ignorant. Let's get that first. 2 Corinthians 2. 2 Corinthians 2 and 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his device. This is a device. Okay? That is clearly a device. Who's Vim Miller? Okay? These guys are ready at the drop of a hat to set you up. Who is Vim? Right? Miller. Look, politician. I type in Vim Miller comes up, politician. Okay? Statement. Okay, who is Vim Miller? Vim Miller Trump. Look at the statement. Okay. Vim Miller was charged with gun possession. If you have a gun, you could be charged with gun possession. Okay. Vim Miller militia. What militia is Vim Miller from? Planning third attempt. Man arrested. Let's see. See if we can find what militia or group that he belonged to. Doesn't say. Let's see, there he is. Okay. Assignment, safety, Republican Masters ran for state assembly. Vague also runs the America Happens network, whose motto is Rage Against the Mainstream Media. LinkedIn. Is there more? Coachella, what happened before? Let's see. Well, they said he had bought the firearms for protection after he started receiving death threats. For what? Let's see. Was this another assassination attempt? Where's the little, was part of what? Miller was part of. I'm missing it. And Miller was part of. Okay, I'm kind of wasting time on this, so I'm going to let it fall. Armed sovereign citizen. He's part of this sovereign citizen thing. Okay? Armed sovereign, see? So there's some funky shit going on, which if they needed to, they'll just pull it out. I'm innocent. Where is it? Let's see. Bear with me for a moment. See, it behooves you to know things like this because this is where it's going. All right, Blade 2. First time I met him was at the Blade premiere. Oh, I met Wesley Snipes. Okay, let's look at this sovereign citizen thing. Okay. Bianco said markings on the license plate suggested Miller is a member of a group of individuals that claim to be. Now, who is this group of individuals that you're not mentioning? see how these motherfucking snakes claim to be. Miller is a member of a group of individuals. What's the name of the fucking group of individuals? Sovereign citizens are a loose network of conspiracy theorists who wrongly believe they are not under the jurisdiction. It sounds like a Moore, right? We're gonna get you correction status, right? But and they got that too. But what's the name of it? Why aren't you going into it and bringing it out? Because you're gonna use it later. You're gonna use that. What's the name of this little sect? Slovakia. See if we can find it up here. Slovakia again. Sovereign citizens. I'm an artist. Last person that would ever cause. Everybody's an artist. Sovereign citizen. The sheriff also said it appeared likely that Miller was a sovereign citizen, part of a loosely organized anti-government movement. Well, wait a minute. Does it have a name? It's not sovereign citizen. You're going around that. See, when someone turn on each other. Sovereign citizens turn on each other over $200,000 fake license plates. What? Sovereign citizen? Is that the name of it? I don't think so. Bianco said that Miller's car wasn't registered as sovereign citizens. Often don't believe. Okay, that's registering your car. So you're going to call it sovereign citizens. Sovereign citizen tells judge F you after allegedly stalking mayor over 5G conspiracy theory. See what they're doing here? So you could just, no, we need a name of a group, not sovereign citizen. Let's type in sovereign citizen, right? And see if that's a group or it's a phrase, right? IGN. Let's just type that in and see what comes up. Sovereign citizen. Wow. Sovereign citizen movement. Armed sovereign citizen arrest. Okay, so they might be using, this is a wide swath. You can label anybody. Sovereign citizen movement is a loose group of anti-government. This is just so made up. This is fucking made up that they could pin this on anybody. The FBI describes sovereign citizens as anti-government extremists who believe that even though they physically reside in this country, they are separate or sovereign from the United States. Example illustration of a sovereign citizen. Homemade license. Example illustration. Okay. They're really big on these license plates. See, and that means something. Why you got a license plate? A license plate is there for a government official to see the plate and either let you go, right, or harass you. Now, why would a sovereign citizen, if he's going to get harassed, why would he put a license plate on there saying, hey, I'm a sovereign citizen, come and fuck with me? It doesn't work that way, okay? You might have a purple heart on a license plate. You might have government, right? You got different things on there. You might put a square and a compass on a sticker on your bumper to let the police know that you're part of a fraternal order, right? That's so the police will help you. They're hand and arm signals. When the trooper comes to speak to you, you can flash him a hand and arm signal, and if he's with it, he'll let you go. So why would you put a license plate on there so people can harass you? No, it doesn't mean that. This is a psyop, this sovereign citizen movement thing. Because this dude, first of all, he's a Trump supporter, right? But, right, if you want to, you could grab him up, slap this name on him, right? And what immediately you're what? Anti, and this word right there. You see how they got it all set up? It's a movement of what? Extremists, conspiracy theorists, scammers, financial scammers. This is the Moors right here. It's Taharka Bay right here. Status correction. So anyway, see, when you look into these things, you find we're not ignorant of Satan's device. Look at this dude. He looks just like the other guy. The other guy was part of something too. The one that they caught outside Mar-a-Lago. He was part of some thing as well, right? If you go back and you do the research on all of them, they're part of some fucking thing that they can jump up and say, oh, sovereign citizen. All right. But anyway, what are they doing? They're creating a war. Okay, that's what
We look at what Grindstone Ministry is doing, and most of those guys are armed. So hey, let's call them a dangerous militia that are trying to push us out of the area.
Let's call him a sovereign citizen. He's an extremist. He's an anti-gov. Okay, you see what's going on here? And that Vim Miller thing that got very little play. They ginned that whole thing up. Oh, we caught a nigga out here who had guns in the trunk. Everybody's got guns in the trunk. Okay, this nigga had a shot. Well, I'm going to what they're saying. He was going to shoot the president with a shotgun. He had to be awful close, right? He had a shotgun, he had a shotty, a handgun. Then he had a clip, right? He had a high capacity magazine. He just so happened to be carrying a high capacity magazine with no weapon, right? That holds that ammo, that sounds fishy. And then the nigga turned around and said he never shot a gun in his life. So make that make sense. He's being stalked, right? Come on. Very convenient. When you know how to see through these things, right? When you know how to see through a psyop, this is a huge one.
That's on, because that would go really good with what we have planned later. I mean, I know I'm speaking all hypothetically and with full of assumptions, but based on the relationship that we the people have with the government and alphabet agencies, I think that it's very possible, very likely that something like that is being developed, because we know that they. I mean, goodness, there's so much I want to say, but I think it's probably not appropriate to say here on the YouTubes. But look at all these other shootings and things that are going on, and how much of it's real and how much of it is done to further a narrative. Right?
Okay, so you got to know what you're looking at. Okay, let no man deceive you. Right, that's where we're at. We're in a time of great deception. And if you're not paying attention, you get hemmed up. If you say the wrong thing, okay, be careful what you say. Go to the code, right? Use the codes, okay? Maxine Nightingale is coming back. Right? You're gonna have to put the mask on, and they got mask laws kicking right now, Northern California. Okay. Here's the most important thing: Matthew 24:4. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. Okay? Because the great deception is underway. The truth is coming out at the same time. So be careful how you move out here. Here comes this. You're gonna see some war. Oh, I'm not getting drafted. No, you're gonna see war right here. Okay, Babylon the Great. Babylon the Great is ground zero for all wars. Understand that. Party at ground zero. What is ground zero? Okay, let's get that. What does this word mean? What does it mean, ground zero? It means the World Trade Center site. There it is. The point on the Earth's surface directly above or below an exploding nuclear bomb. That's what ground zero means. So, Babylon the Great is ground zero. Ground zero is the point on the Earth's surface, Babylon the Great, directly above or below an exploding plethora of nuclear warheads. All right? Ground zero. A lot of war is going to go on right here. They might as well call this Armageddon. Go ask the Venezuelan soldiers, gangs that are here. So with that, we're going to go ahead and close. We hope that the elect edified you, brothers. If you says shalom.